Good morning. I just want to talk about something really personal that happened to me, and I want to share it, not to really to learn from my mistakes, because this mistake actually cost me $15,000 in my business. And it was a stretch because normally I don't do this kind of thing. And Lynn and I went back and forth on it. So for those of it you don't know me, I'm Leslie Leondis, and I help other accountants, bookkeepers, and tax pro build their ideal business into the business that they want. And so one of the things I want to frame here is I am nowhere near a marketer. And so I just want to put that out front right now. I am not a marketer. What I do is help businesses with their operations. So marketing to me it was so scary because it is so many things that I didn't know. And I didn't understand, and I don't under didn't understand all the tech that goes behind marketing. So I just want to share this personal story with you, and I hope it's helpful, because what the point of this story is, it's not to talk ill will of anybody, but it's to leave a lesson in delegating and outsourcing. And the reason why I felt compelled to tell this story today is because I've been doing a lot of posts around delegating and what people want to delegate, but they haven't delegated. And then some of the comments that have come back from that post has also been to that there's so many marketing companies out there and why we're afraid to delegate. And so that's what I want to talk about today. And this story is still rather raw to Lynn, myself, and my entire team. So, but I just felt compelled to tell this story because of the things that are being said. And I've been doing a lot of personal development over the last year, and learning how to communicate and learning different things. So I just want to share from a place of complete vulnerability of how we basically, I feel, lost over $15,000 because we didn't understand what we needed to understand about marketing. We didn't understand how we knew what was working and what wasn't working. So that's what I want to talk about. And so there's a lot of still raw emotion in this. Lynn and I were talking about this last night because we were looking at some of the comments on Facebook around delegating. And then we're working on a 4-day boot camp around delegation. So we wanted to make sure that people really understood what it took to effectively delegate and also transferring ownership. So that's kind of what I want to talk about today. And so I'm going to start by explaining just the situation. So we're at a point where we had been doing organic marketing for a couple of years, and we wanted to create more value because in our firm, we firmly believe in creating value to people every single day, whether they pay us or not. That's what the point of all of our Facebook lives are, all of our Facebook posts, all of our email marketing. Everything is about creating value. Marketing is not one of my favorite things to do. It is something that I went to college to be a CPA. I did have to take marketing classes, but number one, marketing has changed since since I became a CPA. I worked in retail management before that, so I didn't have to do marketing. All I had to do was know where to put stuff on the shelf. So social media wasn't a thing back then. And so there's so many things that go into marketing that I just didn't understand. I didn't have time to understand it. I didn't have a team member that could understand it without me helping them, because they would do anything I asked them to do. But I had to understand whether it worked as well. So that's why I want to share this with you. So we wanted to move from organic marketing to actually paid marketing. And we were working on a 4-day challenge at the time. And this was actually a year ago. So a year has passed, and it's still pretty raw because I haven't delegated any marketing since that time period. And it has held me back in my company as well because of this experience. And so that's why I want to share this. So this marketing company approached me with a proposal to build a funnel and Facebook ads for $15,000. So not only was I out the $15,000 for the funnel, I was also out the money for Facebook ads because they didn't work. And the reason they didn't work, I found out later, is because they were set up incorrectly to start with. And yes, the company did make us whole for the amount we had lost in Facebook ads at that time, but we were still on a very limited time frame for getting people into the funnel to actually provide value to them. So what was supposed to be a 2 or 3 week experience of getting people into a funnel, well, if you don't, and I didn't know this, how much time it takes for Facebook to test ads. And then also, I had never ran ads before. So what they call a Facebook pixel, I didn't even know what it was. Remember, I'm an accountant. I don't know these things. So they didn't even set the pixel up. And that was one of the big mistakes. Plus the tech that went behind the funnel, I didn't understand at all. They were building all this, but then there were some key components that were messed up in messaging. So I have been doing a ton of training over doing effective messaging over the last year, and how to get your messaging correct, how to talk to the right people, and how to do all of these things. But the thing that wasn't conveyed, because this was a very rushed project, was who our ideal client was. And the most important thing is what we helped them do. They didn't understand it. They didn't get it. And it was like we had to keep going over and over and over the same thing. Well, this was time that, number one, I was delegating the problem to get an outcome. And so when I delegated it, it was like I shouldn't have to deal with it all the time. I ended up putting so much time, so much of my team's time, not to mention the irritation of the whole thing. So the point I'm trying to make here, and like I said, this is still very raw, even a year later, is that you want to make sure that they have their systems and processes in place to deliver this type of project. Because marketing is not all created equal. There's so much that I've learned over the years that go into it. And there's so much that goes on to not only the funnel side, the Facebook ads, but then you have the CRM with all the email campaigns. And yes, we screwed up along the way too, because we didn't know. There was a lot of things we didn't know. Do we know now? Heck yeah, this was an expensive lesson. But it was also a lesson that I have taken over the last year. And I have literally, most of my time is spent in marketing now, because I never, ever want to make that mistake again. And that's one of the points I want to make from this live. Even though I am still not a marketer at heart, all I want to do is add value to people. But in order to add value to people, I have to market. I have to give value, just like I'm doing right here, is giving you value of my personal experience and my personal story. And yes, this marketing company did try to fix and rectify the situation. But by that point in time, we were too close to the date of the 4-day event. So therefore, it didn't work. And so we were pretty much out the money, because even though they made us right with the ads that were set up wrong, we still ran ads that weren't effective. We couldn't see conversions. We couldn't see whether the sales page was working or if the ads were working, and all of this. And it was just, in my personal opinion, it just didn't work. So the whole point of this that I am trying to get through to you is, when you delegate, make sure that you're delegating to the right company, to the right person that has the right skill set, but also know enough to know if it's working or not. And I am so thankful for the person that actually helped me realize that the stuff wasn't working, because she saw the Facebook ads and she's like, "Hey, Leslie," she sent me a DM. She's like, "Hey, Leslie, your ads are set up incorrectly. Your page is set up incorrectly. And you have so many pieces missing on your page that you have to be in compliance. I had no idea. But to me, that was something the marketing company should have known, should have put on there, but they didn't. And how would I have known? How would you know? So, because you're outsourcing an outcome, and the outcome was to get people to that 4-day challenge. I didn't care how they got there. But then when this person brought all of these points up to me, and they were really valid points, so I had the ammunition to go back to the marketing company and say, hey, what is going on with this? So I am so eternally grateful to that person that she added value to me by saying, hey, this is wrong. Because what she does, and she's another accountant, but she has spent so much of her life learning marketing, learning content. And she's like, I know who your ideal client is, and this isn't speaking to them. I know what outcome you're trying to give and what value you're trying to give. This page isn't going to do it. And so I'm thankful for that person for stepping up, because she could have just ignored it and said, hey, that's a you problem. But she didn't. She added value to me, to my team, to my business. And so a year later, we're still really great friends. We were friends before, but we're really great friends now. And she'll still say, hey, Leslie, you might want to go check that. So you have, and that's the point of adding value to people. Because so what this experience actually showed me is now I am so skeptical of delegating marketing. So it has made me dive in to learning it. So, but in order to do that, I had to remove all of this other stuff off my plate to be able to do it, because learning marketing is huge. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of tech. There's a lot of, you have to do this before this, before this. And it's like, oh my God, my head wanted to explode. So I want to, the biggest lesson I want you to take away, there's 3 of them. One is accountability, is holding that person accountable for the outcome and keeping tabs on it. And even when you're delegating to someone, you still need to have your finger on it. Not micromanaging, that's a whole different thing, but actually putting your finger on it so you understand. And you may not know what questions to ask, but just know it, trust your gut if it's working or not working. So for those of you that are wanting to outsource marketing, my best advice for you is do your due diligence to make sure that that person really understands who your ideal client is, what you're trying to accomplish, and what you do. So those are the 3 things that are one of the most important components. And like I said, by no way, I don't even coach on marketing. These are my life experiences of just trying to add value to people and getting people to see that their business can be a different way. And number 2 is understand the process. Because to this day, I am still learning different ways to market, different ways to do things, different tech to use. They had us on one of these most sophisticated tech pieces for a sales funnel. Then I went to a conference in February and I saw this whole new piece of tech. Then I was like, oh my God, that's all you have to do? I can do that. And so we instantly shifted the tech. So being clear on the tech side too, because at one point in time, you may have to bring this back in-house and you want to be able to do it yourself. And the third point is choose the right people. I truly believe we thought we were choosing the right people, but this was also not in their zone of genius, because their zone of genius was in organic marketing and so it wasn't necessarily building funnels. And just because they do it for themselves, it's different when you're doing it for someone else. Because why I thought I was being clear, evidently I wasn't. So some of this blame is on me. And these are just some of the lessons that I'm trying to teach you, because it's choosing the right people, the right partnership, where they are working towards the same common goal that you were, and understand their reasons for you wanting to delegate this. Because I found out there was other reasons for this all of a sudden offer that didn't have, in my true belief, did not have my best interest at heart. While I think their heart was in the right place, it was just, I don't think they were ready for that when they thought they were. And and it comes down to, always say the system, people, or processes problem. And I think it was all three. And so while they didn't mean any ill intent at all, I truly believe that they wanted to deliver the service, they wanted to deliver it right, but they didn't have those three things in place. So those are three questions you can ask. What's your process on doing this? And ask those questions. Do you have it documented how you do it? Because a lot of the problem was it lived in somebody else's mind. So she was going through the sales funnel, doing it from her mind, and some of these key components that I talked about that that friend brought to my attention that I was missing on that sales page were missed. And so, but if you have a checklist, hey, you do this every single time, that could have been avoided. So choosing the right people if is huge. And so what I want to talk to you about is I want to share with you, and I've been sharing a little bit this week on how delegation has really transformed my company. But it didn't just start with saying, hey, Megan, go do this. It had to do with, we had to transfer the knowledge. So I had to give her all the information. I had to give her permission, and I had to let her own the outcome. So, and I'll use an example from sales pages that we're building out right now. I gave her the information. I gave her the permission, and I let her own the outcome. And there were some problems on the sales page, so we worked through it together, but she owned the outcome. And that's what's important when delegating, which is why I wanted to share this marketing story, because you can use the same thing with when you're transferring accounting or whatever you're trying to transfer and delegate to somebody else. So what we have upcoming is a 4-day challenge that starts next month on actually how to delegate to elevate, because you cannot elevate without delegating. And that's one thing that this whole story that I'm sharing with you says, is because I didn't have time, because I was deep in other stuff, I didn't really have time to do my due diligence. I didn't have time to look at the process, ask more questions, because I had all this other stuff going on, because I was like, here, do this, take it. And that's what they did. So I wasn't as involved as I should have been in that. So, and that goes for delegating to a team member, to another company, anything. So I hope this was really helpful, because this story is not one I've ever really said publicly ever. And it is still very close to my heart. It's close to Lynn's heart. Actually, it's probably close to every one of our team members' heart, because it really made us look at delegation differently. And but we've learned so much from it. So which was why I felt compelled to tell it. So if you want help delegating, comment delegate below, and we will get you the link to register for that 4-day masterclass. If you have further follow-up questions, you can also feel free to DM me, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. And by no means am I meaning for this to be negative, because all I want to do is add value to people and just share my experience of something that really was a really big life lesson for me. And I just hope that it brings value to you and gives you a different perspective. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and thank you for listening. And I hope to see you on our 4-day boot camp that we have coming up. And I am so excited to bring that to you. So have a great rest of your day.